Ja, mit hoher Wahrscheinlichkeit dann ja. Aber ob das jetzt auch der Wahrheit entspricht, sehen wir ja gleich erst. Und dann muss eigentlich immer noch die Frage beantwortet werden, was für ein Verbrechen hatte eigentlich Siegefen getan, dass ihre Oberschwester im Fort Meropid wurde.
Don't move a muscle. I might be short, but I pack a mean punch. Captain, you're just in time. While I was lying in wait, I spotted this crook snooping around, trying to find a way in. So I detained him.
Oh, his face.
Are you... Potton? So this is where you were heading, huh?
What?
This is how Potton looked before his face was marred. His current appearance matches the mugshot on his arrest warrant.
I see. Wait, so what's going on? Wasn't the whole point of the potion to disguise himself and escape Fontaine? Why would he change back to his original face and run right into our trap?
Enough of this nonsense. Let me in!
You better pipe down. There's an old lady in there who's very sick. No way are we letting a crook like you inside.
To heck with it. Listen to me. I'm Rawat. That's my mother in there.
He's gotta be lying, right? Rawat was a victim in all this. He was forced into it against his will. How can he and this monster be the same person?
Forced against his will. That's the funniest thing I've heard all day. Back when I was being coerced, everyone thought I was colluding of my own free will. And then when I actually became a criminal in my own right, you all suddenly thought I must be under duress. Amazing what a difference a handsome face makes.
Save us the speech. Explain yourself.
You want an explanation? Fine. I'll tell it how it is. When I was just Potton, the whole world treated me with contempt.
Ew. What do you want? Get away from me.
Women despise me.
Collaborate? You don't look like much of a researcher to me.
My peers scorned me.
Mr. Potton, was it? I'm most interested in your research. Consider my offer carefully. I doubt you'll find other investment opportunities.
Only villains would work with me.
You want out of the game? Forget about it. Turns out, I slipped up a little. Left your picture with some Marechaussee Phantom officers. Easy mistake to make. Now they've listed you as an accomplice and drawn up an arrest warrant. So I suggest you put any thoughts of running away to rest. If you get caught by the guards for being in the synth business, you ain't ever seeing the light of day again.
There was no way out for me. Until I could stop being Potton.
Mr. Rawat, I have something I'd like to tell you.
I became popular with women.
This new potion you developed is fascinating. Genius, in fact. Would you consider working with me? I'd be happy to sign a licensing agreement.
My peers looked up to me.
Okay, I'm very interested in your research, sir. You must no doubt have offers from countless investors. So far be it from me to ask for a full collaboration, per se. I merely wanted to express my interest. No pressure at all, naturally.
And the villains even began to fear me. Becoming Rawat showed me what a superficial world we live in. But I did not hold a grudge. After all, this superficiality could be made to work in my favor. Or so I thought. But alas, the world seemed bent on finding a reason to make me despise it. Mother, I'm back. How are you doing?
Who are you?
I bought the best medicine Mora could buy, but nothing would cure her illness. In the end, I hoped she'd at least be able to see her son one last time before she passed, but when everyone else rejected me, the only person who cared about me was my mother. Then, when I became a rising star in the Fontaine Research Institute, I was unrecognizable to her.
I have to let her see me again. Even if it means donning my own wretched, ugly face. Well, is that enough explaining for you? Now do you understand? Let me inside already!
Have you ever considered if you'll even be able to look your mother in the eyes after what you've done? You found a way to completely change your identity. You could easily have escaped from them. But no, you chose to keep working with them.
Why would I want to give up on such a lucrative business? The profits were dozens of times that of the synth business, and it was all above board.
So you kept being a villain just for the money?
Villain? By what standard? Is doing evil deeds really what makes someone a villain in your eyes? Or does it all come down to the way they look? None of you saw a villain when I was wearing my other face, did you? You have no right to judge me! You're all just fake people living in a hypocritical world! I regret nothing! My mother would understand!
You're a villain to the core! But especially that tongue!
Honestly, I don't see a villain when I look at your current face either.
Don't humor me. You don't seem surprised by my confession in the least. How long have you known the truth?
I didn't know anything for sure until you chose to take that potion bottle and spare our lives. But if you're asking when I started suspecting you, it was the first time you came to see me at the infirmary. I had to confirm my suspicions. That's why I chose to join this investigation.
Are you kidding me? A young, promising researcher and a wretched criminal? What on earth gave you the idea that they could be one and the same person?
Well, there were no visual clues. This potion's face-changing effects are very powerful. Even as a Melazine, I couldn't see through the disguise. But I believe I understand humanity a little better than most of my kind. Humans have certain fundamental qualities that do not change with their appearance.
Fundamental qualities, huh? So you think you're the one who's seen through me, do you? Most people probably don't know this, but I think I can guess what your deal is. Melazine constitutions are very close to that of water, so it stands to reason that the potion should work on them too. You use it yourself, didn't you? That's why you have a human appearance.
Cedrine?
Yes, you're right.
I'll bet it was back in the days when Melazines were discriminated against because of their appearance. It was either carry on living in the gutters as part of an alien race cast out by humanity, or become the head nurse of the Fortress of Meripede, revered by all. Not a hard choice to make. It's a no-brainer. So you see, you and I were the same. And I'm the one who saw through you!
That's not important right now. You came here to see your mother, didn't you? Well, I can grant you your wish.
Huh?
Head nurse, I'm not sure that's a good idea in his current state.
Don't worry. Back in the warehouse when I traded the potion for our lives, I was doing it to test him. He was willing to risk sacrificing his only chance of escaping capture by opening the gate in exchange for the potion. Also, he could see his mother again. If nothing else, his concern for his mother is genuine.
I see.
So before you arrest him, please allow him to see his mother one last time. The Traveler and I will accompany him. You have nothing to worry about.
All right. I understand.
Gut, damit wäre diese Sache eigentlich auch noch gleich geklärt. Okay, die Synchro ist jetzt irgendwie abhanden gekommen, also Mutter, ich bin es, dein Sohn Potten. Jetzt kannst du mich doch bestimmt wiedererkennen.
Mom, what's wrong?
I'm sorry, but I have some bad news. I examined your mother last time we were here, and it appears that due to her prolonged fever, she's lost her eyesight.
What?
Your appearance no longer has any bearing on her ability to recognize you. But there are always other ways to remind our loved ones who we are. Wouldn't you say?
No, it can't be. Please, Mom, open your eyes. It's me, your son, Potten. If you really can't see my face, then here, take my hand. Tell me you feel your son's hand. I've done so much to get to this point. Please, you have to recognize me. No.
The temperature of his palm must have changed. I'm sorry. It seems I couldn't bring him back to you after all. It's you. Thank you. Of course.
Mom, why will you answer her and not me? Why?
Tja, weil seine Mutter das Kind aus Siegewins Geschichte war vom Anfang des Legendenauftrages. Sie war ihre erste Freundin. Würde ich jetzt, sag mal, meinen.
No more questions, Potten. She's gone.
Mom?
I'm sorry to say this, Potten, but you and I are not the same.
Am Ende wird Potten von den Mitgliedern des Marseille-Phantoms weggebracht. Ein Tag verrinnt wie mit einem Wimpernschlag. Nur der Bildschirm, der vergeht sag jetzt nicht wie ein Wimpernschlag. Also gut, dann sind wir jetzt erstmal wieder hier, wo alles begonnen hatte.
The wait is over, everyone! The sale of our new skincare product, Romaritime Essence, will now begin.
Another skincare promotion! And it's selling as fast as last time. Wonder what people would think if they knew what was in the last batch. Oh, Seedween's here too! Hey, Seedween! Oh, Traveler Paimon, hello! Oh, I hope you two got a good rest yesterday after all your hard work. Of course! Nurse's orders, right? Anyway, are you here to take notes for your next article? Actually, I'm mostly here to help Officer Morgan wrap up yesterday's case. Ah, that reminds Paimon. That stuff sold like crazy, didn't it? Is it gonna cause huge problems? Nope, there's nothing to worry about. Unless modified, Butterfly Dew is an excellent skincare product that's completely safe to use. Besides, Officers have already retrieved all butterfly dew purchased on the market. Now it's just a matter of disposal. After consulting Monsieur Nervulette, I came up with a way to neutralize any harmful effects, so it'll evaporate naturally without polluting water or soil. Wow, it's Siegewing to the rescue again!
Thank you for serving as our consultant, head nurse. All the butterfly dew we recovered has been disposed of, according to your instructions.
Great! Good job, everyone!
Also, you mentioned you wanted a copy of Rawat's interrogation records. Well, technically, Potten's records. Anyway, I have them with me. Here. After he saw his mother for the last time, it was like all his mental defenses came crashing down. He put up no resistance during the interrogation, and answered all our questions. We learned a lot. Apparently, the formula was something he discovered by chance while helping the criminal gang produce synth. Later, he came up with the idea to dilute it and use the resulting substance as a skincare product. Their supplier was Vache, but you could also argue that they were the ones doing him a favor. His operation helped Vache's gang dispose of an enormous amount of evidence.
Hätte nicht damit gerechnet, diesen Namen nochmal zu
It
hören.
made for a seamless collaboration. One man's trash was another man's treasure, and there were no loose ends. It's no wonder we never noticed what Potten's gang was up to.
Vache again, huh? Is there still no end to the harm he caused?
Make no mistake, the crimes of Vache and his accomplices will come to an end. It's only a matter of time. Since the flood cut off their supply of primordial seawater, they've been forced to resort to riskier methods, like using their private reserve to attack people on the street. Naturally, those attempts all ended in failure.
Gerade jetzt fällt es mir gerade auf, dass dieser Apparat hier aus Fontaine ja eigentlich fast identisch ist mit dem aus der Hotellobby des Hotels Reverie aus Honkai Star Rail. Nicht ganz identisch, aber das Innere. Ja.
After receiving numerous reports, we were able to zero in on the gang and eventually round them up.
That sounds more like it.
Based on what he told us in his confession, we pretty much had him backed into a corner, even though he made a point of distancing himself from the gang while disguised as Rawat. He tried to throw us off his tail by reporting his accomplices, giving him enough time to transform back into Potten and see his mother one last time. But there was one thing he hadn't anticipated. Even though Potten had been missing for a long time, we were very much still on the lookout for him. So, the moment he appeared in public after changing back to his original appearance, we caught him.
So he tried this once before, huh? Guess he really did want his mother to see him again. But in the end... Looking at the interrogation records, it seems like he spent the first sum of money he earned as Rawat on his mother's treatment.
Yes, which is why I suspect that his initial motive for using the potion was not personal greed, but a desire to become somebody who had the power to save her. Even so, he went too far. In the end, he got what he deserved.
I understand. Thank you for bringing me these records. Why did you want them anyway? Potten was one of my patients, so I need to put together a medical file for him. My teacher always stressed that a person's life experiences are just as important to their file as their medical history. Why are you still treating him like your patient? Isn't he kind of beyond redemption now? That may be true, but a patient is a patient, regardless of the choices that bring them to my care.
One last thing, head nurse. Please keep everything you know about this potion a secret. It would be for the best if most of Fontaine knows nothing of its existence. I know my fellow officers and I will be able to sleep easier if that's the case.
Of course. Not to worry.
Thank you for understanding. I'll take my leave then.
So, Siegween, did you really use that potion yourself? Why do you sound so surprised, Paimon? I told you all about it. It was quite a while ago now. You mean that story about the witch and the potion? So it was really, actually, genuinely a true story?
Also ich hätte jetzt nicht damit gerechnet, dass das wirklich nur ein Märchen gewesen sei.
Yes, it really, actually, genuinely was. But...
Tja, der Prozess der Herstellung dieses Tranks.
I know. There are some secrets I can't tell anyone about. But considering everything we've been through together, I know I can trust you with them. Before I tell you though, could you follow me somewhere? I want to pay my respects to an old friend. Of course!
Na gut, geh zu einem Ort, auf den du dich mit Siegwin geeinigt hast. Also, und der Ort ist wo? Ja, hier unten, wo wir ebenfalls mal wieder keinen Teleport haben. Aber wir haben natürlich hier in der Nähe unseren Wellenreiter. Und damit kommen wir im Allgemeinen auch noch gut an. An unser Ziel. Vielleicht ein bisschen langsamer, aber wir kommen ans Ziel. Naja, obwohl die Geschwindigkeit an sich war jetzt doch in Ordnung. Ah, und sieh mal an. Neuvillette und der Herzog.
Oh, Neuvillette and Risley, they're here too.
Good to see you, traveler. Paimon. I trust all has been going well for you.
Big news, everyone. The Udex is out of his office on important business.
Is that genuinely something people would consider big news?
Why wouldn't they? Important business is a big deal.
Ah, yes, you're quite right. When someone you care about requires emotional support, being there for them at the right time and place is of the utmost importance. After reading the Maréchal Phantom's reports, I had a feeling a trip here might be in order.
Take note. That, my friends, is how Monsieur Neuvillette shows that he cares. We're both here for the same purpose, actually, to accompany Siegween as she pays her respects to her late teacher.
So the old friend she mentioned was her teacher then? The witch? Oh, sorry. Paimon didn't mean to be rude. It's only because Siegween calls her that all the time, so...
I doubt she considers that title to be offensive, Paimon. Don't worry.
Indeed. In fact, I believe Siegween would take it as a sign of affection. She has spoken of this doctor on many occasions, and it sounds like she was a truly generous individual. In those days, many people harbored prejudices against Melusines. She was the only teacher willing to take Siegween on as a student.
Wow. It's really nice of you two to be here for Siegween. Guess you guys really look out for your younger colleagues, huh?
Younger colleague? Well, that might be true for the Udex, but I'm not sure I can say the same. Siegween served a sentence in the fortress of Meripede hundreds of years ago, and after she did her time, she decided to stick around. She's been an integral part of our administration ever since. Strictly speaking, the head nurse has been around longer than most people in the fortress, myself included. Pretty sure that makes me the younger colleague.
She served a sentence?
Und das schon hunderte von Jahren? Naja, darauf hätte ich eigentlich auch kommen müssen. Und was für ein Verbrechen hat sie begangen?
Yes. Long before I became Udex, There was an ancient law in Fontaine that prohibited any attempt to transform another species into a human. Initially, I and most researchers believed this law to have been imposed due to ethical concerns. But now, it seems more likely that the law was nothing more than an insurance policy, a way for Egeria to ensure that her people would remain insulated from the truth, thus enabling them to lead more straightforward, happier lives.
Ignorance is bliss, as they say.
Sigewinne had her reasons for choosing to obtain a human form, but the act was nonetheless in clear violation of the law.
Could you tell us a little bit more about what happened back then?
Certainly. Sigewinne does not object to her close friends learning about her history. In fact, I first learned of it myself because she confessed the truth to me of her own volition.
Even with their daughter so ill, they kicked you out? Stubborn as always. And prejudice isn't a disease I can cure either. Shame that I don't have the energy to get over there. You're laughable, you old witch. You want to save everyone in Fontaine, but you can't even save the patient before you.
Master, what are you...
I discovered a strange disease, one I suspect that every Fontainian suffers from. But without witnesses or proof, no one will believe me. I had no choice but to experiment on myself to find a cure, but I hit a wall. And as you can see, it took a wretched toll on me.
Then I'll find a cure for you, and then you can go cure her.
There's no need. I am beyond saving now. There's nothing you can do.
But, Master...
As I said before, a doctor's duty is to treat whatever ailments they can.
I know, but they don't trust me at all.
That girl. She's your first ever patient, isn't she? Tell me, what cost are you willing to bear to see her cured?
I'll do whatever it takes.
Even if it means breaking the law and being punished for it?
As long as I don't hurt anyone, yes.
Spoken like a true student of mine. Then I shall make one more final gamble. And see my experiment through to its end. Leave me for now, and come back in 2 hours. If I am able to work this miracle, then I will have found a way to save all Fontainians, and I shall be able to help you treat that girl. If not, then it means there is one more disease in this world that I cannot treat. In that case, do not come looking for me. I will leave you a parting gift. An accidental discovery happened upon through my study of this strange disease. It has little use, but it will at least help you cure this one patient you can reach.
When Sigewinne returned, the miracle had not occurred. She found a potion bottle and a note on the table. After using the potion as instructed, she gained her current form, breaking Fontaine's law in the process. And after I had confirmed the veracity of the events, I gave my verdict.
So that's what happened.
Ihre Lehrerin hat ihr eigenes Leben geopfert.
I fear Sigewinne only understood the full story after the truth about the dissolution of Fontainians was uncovered. When I reflected on all this with that knowledge in hand, I felt a deep sense of regret. As I use the law to uphold justice, there are times when I cannot help but acknowledge its ruthlessness. After the final details of the events surrounding Sigewinne's transformation came to light, I checked several sources and, thankfully, the legal code does not require Sigewinne to shoulder any additional punishment.
Wonder how she feels about all this.
Since she invited you here, I imagine she intends to speak of these matters with you, no?
Tja, das abschließende Gespräch mit Sigewinne also gleich.
On behalf of the Marechaussee Phantom, I would like to once again thank the Fortress of Meripede for your assistance in the response to yesterday's prison break.
Our head nurse and the traveler in Paimon did most of the heavy lifting, I would say.
Sigewinne seems to be in good spirits. I trust work hasn't been too hard on her lately?
Well, she might be the only permanent medical staff in the fortress, but there's plenty of people with medical knowledge willing to help her out.
I am most relieved to hear it.
The way you're asking after her well-being makes you sound like a concerned parent.
Well, I won't lie. I've always seen myself that way.
Showing your age a bit there, don't you think?
Indeed. Actually, I often forget just how much older I am than you.
Well, while we're on the topic, what did you do before getting this job, anyway? Spend all day swimming in the sea, from east to west, and then north to south?
Yes, and, from the surface to the ocean floor on occasion.
Wow. Impressive.
Apologies, that was merely an attempt at humor. You can disregard what I said.
That's impossible, I'm afraid. My imagination's already running wild.
Ja, interessantes Gespräch.
You're here. The old friend I mentioned was my teacher. When she passed, her body was nowhere to be found. All that's left of her is an empty tomb. And even that's deep underwater now. Sigewinne, the witch who gave you the magic potion, she was your teacher, wasn't she? Sounds like Monsieur Neuvillette filled you in. After learning the truth, it must have been hard to process, huh? Well, to be honest, after I realized what really happened that night, my first thought was that it kind of made sense. It seemed exactly like the sort of thing she would do. But she was planning to sacrifice herself and never told you. That's just who she was. If lying is what it took to get a kid to take their medicine, then that's what she'd do.
Eine wirklich großartige Ärztin.
Alright, but why did you turn yourself in? I broke the law, simple as that. My teacher made her choice, and I made mine. True. It's just the way Potton framed it when he was asking you all those questions, it made Paimon really mad. You're not like him at all, and everything Neuvillette said confirms that. And yet, you were still convicted and thrown in prison. It just feels so unfair. Unfair? I happen to think just the opposite. If I hadn't served that time, I'm not sure I would have been able to stay strong when he was questioning me. What makes you say that? I knew you'd be curious. Let me tell you a story. The verdict came down. This Melusine is guilty. Deudex defended the authority of Fontaine law, but he did not confiscate the Melusine's medical kit. And so, the Fortress of Meripede gained a new little doctor. She still wore her hood and raincoat. even though it never rained in the fortress. Perhaps thanks to her human appearance, no one refused her treatment. She treated more and more patients, and her sentence grew ever shorter. Finally, the people of the fortress could not live without her, and though her sentence ended, she did not leave them either. Then one day, she received an invitation from the outside world. The location seemed familiar, and when she arrived, an old lady was waiting for her. She saw right through the Melusine's disguise, but didn't reveal it. Instead, she asked a question.
Tell me, why do you think you gained the respect of so many people, despite being a Melusine?
Because I look like a human?
It's been 50 years, Sigewinne, and you haven't aged a day. I think everyone knows you are not human. I finally found you, after all these years. I still remember, you know. It was you who saved me that night.
But how? I was no longer a Melusine by then.
Does it really matter if you're human or Melusine? I remembered the warmth of your palm. It's quite unmistakable. And you know what? It hasn't changed one bit. You don't have to hide anymore, Sigewinne. These days, everyone wants to make friends with Melusines. And I think that it's all because of you. I'm sorry I couldn't say this until now, but thank you, Dr. Melusine.
Now that's an ending Paimon can get behind. After hearing everything Paten said, I wanted to tell him that it didn't matter who he looked like on the outside. But it was too late. The warmth in his palm had already disappeared. I tried to treat him, but the roots of his problem had nothing to do with his face.
So viel verschenktes Potenzial.
I understand. Thanks, you two. I appreciate you being here for me while I talk this through. Oh, it's nothing. Our pleasure. Oh, there's one more reason I invited you here. It's about time I finally give you what I promised. In order to restore the appearances of the face-swapping victims, the Marechaussee Phantom gave me special permission to make a few bottles of that potion. And I made one extra just for you two. We don't need it though. Shouldn't we destroy it? Well, even if you chose to destroy it, I still thought I should give it to you first. You two did so much for me. How could I break my promise? Well, fair enough, but anyway, Paimon's definitely not interested in this stuff anymore. Still, if this is the very last bottle in all of Teyvat, getting rid of it would feel like kind of a waste. Maybe we can give it a special meaning somehow. Oh, Paimon's got it! Melusine physiology wasn't affected by the Great Flood, right? So that means the potion should have a permanent effect on you. In that case, what do you say, Sigewinne? Ever thought about transforming back to the way you used to look? After all, from a Melusine point of view, Paimon bets Melusines look the cutest of all.
Paimon.
Paimon, after everything, do you really think it matters whether I'm Melusine or a human? Well, what was Paimon thinking? You made up your mind a long time ago. Yeah, let's just destroy this thing. Leave it to me.
Und somit wäre die Wärme der Lügen abgeschlossen. Ende Gelände.
I'd like to stay here with my teacher for a little longer.
Ja, kein Problem, mach das. Aber ja, war auf jeden Fall ein sehr schöner, ein sehr guter Legendenauftrag. So kann man das auf jeden Fall sagen. Und auf alle Fälle in nächster Zeit werden wir jetzt auch noch ein weiteres neues Event haben. Zwar jetzt an der Stelle kein Legendenauftrag, aber wir werden dann auf jeden Fall einen neuen Auftrag haben, wodurch wir dann auch mal wieder an ein bisschen mehr Urgesteine rankommen. Und ansonsten sind es jetzt sowieso noch 19 Tage. 19 Tage? Tja, das ist jetzt doch ein bisschen sehr viel. Aber jetzt noch 19 Tage, 2 Stunden, 27 Minuten, bis dann Zeit wird für das Sommer-Event. Jetzt noch 26 Minuten. Aber sehr interessant eigentlich, dass jetzt noch so lange dauert. Aber wie dem auch sei, ein Sommer-Event muss natürlich auch vorbereitet werden. Nicht zu vergessen auch noch die Tatsache, dass Natlan auch bald ein paar Wochen bereit ist, erkundet zu werden. Und somit sage ich dann jetzt erstmal an der Stelle Tschüss, bis zum nächsten Mal. Bis dann und ciao.